Welcome to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. I'm your host, Luke Darnell. Next week is American Royal Week, baby, the biggest barbecue competition in the world. It's like being trapped in a barbecue snow globe. So next week, we're going to have 4 episodes for you as everyone is driving to KC. But we're going to get the party started off this week with this fella doesn't really need an introduction. He's won Memphis in May more times than most people have attended. He's won the Invitational to Royal, and he's just one of the nicest people that you'll ever meet, in barbecue or anywhere else. So please join me in welcoming Chris Lilly from Big Bob Gibson's. The Barbecue League is the ultimate barbecue experience, and here's why. One small annual investment from you instantly unlocks all 70-plus tell-all recipes, enthusiast recipes, restaurant tours, and more in their unmatched library. This isn't your typical YouTube-type content. World champions like Getting Basted, Shake and Bake Barbecue, Heavy Smoke Barbecue, La Pasadita Barbecue, and 913 Barbecue share their full tell-all recipes. No secret is left unsaid, and a new video release is guaranteed every single week of your membership. You'll also see unfiltered looks from all levels of pitmasters during their live competition coverage, and those same pitmasters are accessible through the league's upbeat online community. As soon as you sign up, you'll also have a full arsenal of some of the best discounts in barbecue from brands like Snake River Farms, Blues Hog, Big Papa Smokers, Gunter Wilhelm, Gateway Drum Smokers, and more. The Barbecue League puts on members-only contests throughout the year, hosts live and virtual events, and offers a full-access league lounge at participating events. Our listeners to this podcast can receive $10 off of the $100 annual membership this month only. Well, this month and leading up to the Royal, by using the code AugustPitmaster on thebarbecueleague.com. That's AugustPitmaster on thebarbecueleague.com. You don't want to miss this content and all of this learning. It is one hell of an investment. So it is my esteemed pleasure to have with us this week on the Pitmaster podcast, Mr. Chris Lilly from Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue. How are you, my friend?
Doing fantastic, Luke. Appreciate the invite to join you on this show. Can't wait to talk a little barbecue and catch up.
Yeah, it's a fun little show. I asked some different questions. Everyone obviously knows how successful you've been, not only in the competition arena, but in the barbecue business and barbecue celebrity arena as well. One of the things I always try and do is try and recall the first time that I met somebody. And I believe the first time that I met you, I was sitting at a restaurant in Orange Beach, Alabama, after barbecue final turn-ins at the World Food Championship.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, and in 2016, and my team had left, and I believe it was Michael McDearman saw me sitting there, and he was with you, and he brought you over. You guys asked me if I was the one that made the lobster bacon mac and cheese.
I remember.
and I'm sitting there, I was all starstruck and half drunk because my team had left me and I'd been just sitting there sipping some bourbon and I was like, yeah, that was me. And you were like, that was great. So that was the first instance that I could come up of when we actually met each other.
Well, you put out some great food that day and pretty close to a win. What'd you finish overall in that contest?
In the final, we ended up finishing 4th.
Gotcha.
Which was such a surreal experience, being surrounded by all of those great chefs and people who were classically trained. And my friend from Hawaii kept calling me chef, and I'm like, please stop.
I tell you, the food was absolutely amazing that day, and the barbecue did not let me down. So it was pretty awesome, Luke. So everybody, when we're eating the barbecue, everybody looked at me. All the judges looked at me like, is he going to smile? Is he going to keep eating? So I did you proud on the judges' end, without a doubt. But just the different kind of food in that contest was amazing. I still remember a turkey tail soup.
Turkey tail chili.
Yeah, turkey tail chili was absolutely outstanding. And to be such a, just sort of a home style, ordinary meal, it blew me away.
Yes, that was Liz Kratz, who made that. That was one of the best things about that was, she and I are still really good friends, and we met that weekend and stayed in touch. And yeah, everybody that's been involved with that has really been fantastic.
Oh yeah, we'll give her my best, Luke.
I will. I will. But food sport in general has brought a lot of people together and, created a lot of opportunities for people. You and I were talking briefly before we got on about the American Royals coming up. What does the Royal mean to you?
Oh gosh, it's one of those classic barbecue contests that I would absolutely hate to miss. And I think I've only missed one American Royal since, oh gosh, let me go back, 1999. I've been doing the Royal a long time. So I think our first year was 1999. And the only year I missed, well, outside of last year, of course, everybody missed, but my son got married. So I couldn't pull the that year. So it's going to be good to get back and knock the dust off the cooker, the recipes. And, it's been 2 years since I've cooked a KCBS contest. So I got to be a little rusty, but I can't pass up the opportunity to go to the Kansas City and see all my barbecue friends that, I haven't seen in a couple years.
It's a great experience, and I encourage every new team that wins a contest. My biggest thing to them is, I know it seems like a big deal, but you've got to make your way to Kansas City for the American Royal, because it's the way I describe it is it's like being trapped in a barbecue snow globe.
True.
I mean, you're in there and you're with everybody from barbecue land, and you never know who you're going to find walking around the corner. And the last time in 2019 when we were there was the first time that we went where we hadn't qualified for the Invitational. And I had made a vow to myself that I would never miss it again. Just like you. You can't not want to be there. It's just such an experience.
It's my stage of my barbecue career, I guess. It's the people. It's the people that keep me coming back. It's not I don't go to the American Royal to, I do try to win a grand championship. I'm there to see all my friends and hang out and have a good time is my main purpose.
Now, I had the recent pleasure of going to your restaurant down in Decatur, Alabama, and walking in the door and being surrounded by all those world championship trophies from Memphis in May was quite the experience. But it was an even better experience having the food and the service that we did. And you guys do a fantastic job, which leads me to kind of my first question is, you're so consistent you've been so consistent throughout the years and confident. Where does that confidence come from in terms of barbecue?
I think without a doubt, it's preparation, whether I'm speaking to the restaurant or speaking to competition circuit, in order to get that confidence, you have to prepare. And, because I don't run the circuit or cook a ton of contests, I've got to use the restaurant as a tool, and practice and cook some things and try out new flavor profiles and stuff. And I'm in the restaurant every day cooking, not so much for the restaurant, because I've got some fantastic pit masters and fantastic cooks that have been with us, 10, 20, 30, 40 years that do a lot of the everyday cooking at the restaurant. But I'm always there. I'm always working on new recipes, new flavor profiles, getting inspiration from when I travel all over the country. So yeah, it's all about preparation when you're cooking to give you that confidence in putting out some fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's great advice for anybody that's looking to improve their confidence, is to make sure you have everything in the right place. Make sure you have as much done as you can heading into the event. That way your brain is clear to make the decisions that you need to.
No, without a doubt. And I've said it 100 times, and you've probably heard me say it. The greatness of a pit master is directly proportional to the size of your ash pile. Which, where you cook, more wood you burn, the more charcoal you burn, your bigger ash pile gets. It all comes down to just doing it, getting in there and getting dirty and cooking barbecue. The more you cook, the better you get.
Right. And this has been a lifelong career for you. correct?
It has. I got into the business in 1991. So since then, it's been an everyday affair for me. So yeah, I met my wife in college, and just so happened her great grandfather was Big Bob Gibson, who started our restaurant Decatur back in 1925. So now now I'm at the restaurants. I've got two sons involved, and I'm a new grandfather. I've just got two baby boys. One Jacobs and one Andrews, and look like sixth generation pitmasters if I keep my fingers crossed and everything works out.
Yes, and I forgive me for not congratulating you on that from the beginning. It was on the sign when we went a few weeks ago. Welcome to the family, and that was pretty cool to see.
It's probably still on the sign. We're just as slow as changing that sign as we are at cooking barbecue.
A lot of people like to talk about all the successes that we have in competition barbecue. I like to talk about the failures. Do you have a favorite failure of yours where you really, really gummed something up but it taught you something that you hold dear still to this day that helps you prepare for a contest?
Wow, I guess there's been so many failures and so many, where I come up short. Whether that be competition or just experimenting in my backyard. So, does one jump out? Yeah, there's been a couple instances at the American Royal where I'm cruising to a GC and screw up the last category. Back in the good old days, it was sausage. Sausage was an official category. That used to be my Achilles heel, is sausage at the American Royal. I think I often overthought it and tried to do too much. Whereas if I had just found a really good sausage and cooked that up and grilled it to perfection and put it in the box, I think I'd have been a lot better off. But I think I was on the tangent of trying to make it myself and do everything from scratch, when sometimes that's not the best way to go. So, but gosh, Luke, there's been so many failures and so many. I wish I could have had that over. Too numerous to name.
I know the sausage category is, it's a kind of a microcosm of a lot of the questions that we all get when we do this competitively, and everybody wants to know, did you make your own sausage? Did you make your own sauce? Do you make your own rubs? And a lot of times people are sad at the answer, and when the answer is like no, there's a guy that makes a rub and a guy that makes a sauce that they're way better at it than I ever would be. So,
the interesting thing, and you think you're a competition cook, and you go and you turn in and you cook the exact same recipe at one contest and the next, and you finish first and you finish 15th, and you complain about that. I think sausage magnifies that, in that we have won sausage at the American Royal. We've won world champion sausage. And I think we've been doing the same thing and the same recipe for, the next 3 or 4 years, and, coming in 100 something and 200 something. So sausage is one of those tricky ones, without a doubt.
So are you a superstitious fella?
No, I'm not.
You don't have any habits or rituals or routines that you have to do during a competition?
My only habit or ritual is getting my butt prepared to cook the contest before the contest. And that means trying to eke out enough time to do a practice cook, because doing 2 contests a year, Memphis in May and the American Royal, that's it for me, and they're totally different. So yeah, it is all about getting ready for that contest. And if I'm not prepared, then. But rituals, superstitions, no same clothes, no same hat. You take it as it comes.
Wow, that's great. That's great. I'm trying to eliminate as many of those things as I possibly can, just because
I have too much other crap to worry about, Luke, and not forgetting and I forget too much. It's one of the, if I forget my lucky hat, if I don't have a lucky hat, then I'm that much ahead.
Are you a music guy when you cook?
Love music. I absolutely love music. Yeah.
Sure. What are you listening to?
Oh gosh, I like now I'm sort of in a sort of folk rock sort of vibe. Maybe a little Tyler Childers or something like that is probably what I'm listening to now. But down that road. So yeah.
That's cool. My wife and I have a playlist that's all the same songs that we listen to it every contest, and if somebody wants to add a song, it has to have universal approval to make the
Oh
list.
wow,
So
I bet that's an eclectic mix.
it is, but it can get quite. There's some arguments have happened. Let's just put it that way.
Oh wow, but yeah, I love music, and it's always on except for around turn-in time. I want all my focus on the blind boxes and things and my cooking, so I'll usually cut it back then.
Right on, right on. Let's move the sticks a little bit and talk about some gear. What's one of the best or most worthwhile investments that you've made in competition barbecue?
Wow, it's crazy because my gear, especially if I'm changing recipes and doing different things, which I do a lot, I hardly ever stick with the same recipe because I'm always trying to find that next advantage. My gear changes. So, yeah, it changes, across the board when I'm doing competitions and things. In my backyard, it's nothing special, without a doubt. I have my heavy gloves, I have a big, huge, thick spatula, and my thin spatula, and my grill grates, and my grill pans, and all the necessities, things like that. Internal meat thermometer, got to have one of those, don't you, Luke?
Absolutely.
So yeah, my gear is pretty standard. I don't use a lot of thermocouples and digital readouts and Bluetooth and anything like that. I'm more of an old school. Put it on, just let it roll, pull it when it's done. In competition, I look at everything and I fine tune everything, but for the most part in the backyard, it's all about chilling, hanging out with friends and everything. But my gear changes. Yeah, got to have my charcoal. You know that. I lean toward my hickory sticks. So yeah, I charcoal and hickory. Grills don't necessarily matter. I've cooked on just about everything in my life. From cinder block pits that build from scratch, or from up until the big rigs, which I'm still cooking on a Jedmaster smoker. Now, a lot of your audience probably says, "What the hell is that?" But a lot of your guys that have been around a while know what Jedmaster is. They don't make them anymore. It is a rotisserie charcoal pit where the fire is directly under the rotisserie, so you get a lot of drippage. You get the fat rendering from the pork and the ribs and the chicken falls directly in the coals, so you get that charred moisture. Think of it as something similar to a drum.
Mm-hmm.
That drippage, you get that direct fire flavor, but it's a rotisserie, so it's
Huh.
what I absolutely love. Probably one of my it definitely is my favorite cookers, the Jedmaster. I've got a little 3-rack rotisserie in my backyard, and when I go in contest, I've got a 8-rack that I'll carry depending on where I'm going. So yeah, love the Jetmaster smokers.
Very cool. Is it going to be in Kansas City?
Yeah, definitely will be in Kansas City. I don't think I've cooked American Royal without the Jedmaster. So some of your people out there that swap up all the time, they've gone from Jambos to drums, back to Jambos to Webers to all sorts of. Pretty much stuck with the Jedmaster. When I used to do the King of the Smokers out in California, Starling Balls contest, I would just pick whatever he had out there. So I changed it up out there. So yeah, cook on just about anything. I guess as long as I have anybody would be comfortable.
That's cool. It's funny when people are starting out and they're always, what should I cook on? What should I cook on? And that's kind of a relationship that you have to build yourself with the cooker that you're comfortable with. And I tell people all the time, because I switched from backwoods to a Jambo. And they were like, well, that had to be easy for you. And I'm like, no, it was not. It's a completely different style.
I would say that those are probably as close to the opposites as you could get, a water belly cooker and then a Jambo, stick burner. Because of the airflow. It's so different, and you're cooking with a different heat and a drier heat as well. So there's a lot of factors you would have to change going from the backwoods to the Jambo. So yeah, that'd be a tough switch right there, Luke. Nice job, brother.
Thank you. It was fun, and it's been fun to learn how to cook on the Jambo, and and mess around with these drums a little bit. That's also a good time. It really, I've been trying to become more involved as a mentor to some people that are up and coming, and they always ask me, so I'm going to ask you, what were some of the best decisions that you made when you first started competing?
Wow. I think first and foremost, you need to go to a judging class or a judging seminar and take that. If you haven't done that, that would be first step. In order to cook a competition, have a chance at winning, you got to find out what the judges are looking for. So definitely go there. The other thing I would tell somebody new is go to a contest and walk around. Make some friends or visit some friends and ask to taste. Don't be bashful. Looking back in my career, I think it was the second contest I cooked. I still remember this, and it's really one thing that sort of changed the direction I was going and really helped me to improve my barbecue more than anything. But I was in Mississippi cooking, and I had won a automatic to Memphis in May to cook, and I was absolutely just blown away. So I wanted to do a prep contest and went to Mississippi and cooked. We were cooking whole pork shoulders. It was an MAM contest back then, and I was cooking beside Pat Burke. Back then it was Tower Rock Barbecue. He came in first, and I came in second place. And after the contest, he invited me over and he let me taste some of his pork. And I knew instantly when I tasted his pork that one, he deserved to beat me. His pork was better than mine. And two, if I didn't change my flavor profile and go in a different direction, that I would never win a Memphis in May contest. So that one taste really put me in a different direction, changed my entire flavor profile. And I started winning consistently in pork after that. So you can't, the more you talk, the more you taste, the more you meet people. And, it's definitely going to help out in your cooking. And then third, get out there and cook and try different things. First, learn how to cook and then learn how to flavor, because most people go straight to flavor and never really learn how to cook and how to pull something and know when it's perfectly done. So that would be my advice.
Wow, that's great advice. And Pat Burke is one of the names that keeps coming up in all of these interviews with you, Darren, Melissa. His name is prevalent, and it's somebody I really, really, really would like to get his story and have it on here. I think it would be a really good time.
A selfless guy, but a very confident guy. But he would never turn you away if you're asking barbecue questions, without a doubt. Good dude.
So you've been around for a long time, and you've had a lot of influences in your life, I would imagine. Who's impacted your life the most in competition barbecue?
I guess Pat Burke would be one of those names. It would have to go back to a lot of the people that were cooking when I started out. And back then, Myron Mixon, he was cooking. He was young. He started cooking back competitions just before I did. So probably Myron Mixon impacted me because of the competition aspect and going back and forth and beating him and him beating me. So I was a certain drive that if I could beat Myron, then I've had a good day, and it's been a good competition, and more than likely we carried some trophies home. So let's see what else. Who else was out there? I think another one would have to be, gosh, what was the name of his team? I'm going way back. George with Power Pig Maniacs, and a lot. I know all of your listening. Who in the hell is that? So anyway, but he was doing so good when we first, and all of these go back to because I was cooking on the MIM circuit before I started cooking on the KCBS circuit. But he had won Memphis in May a couple times. What a good guy. I actually cooked a judging seminar with him where I cooked some stuff for the judges and he did. And we did presentations for the people that were going through the judging class to try to help them out. Just something we did back then. But yeah, good guy. Buddy and Mimi Richardson with a team called Chances Are. They're from Tennessee. He was a heck of a whole hog cook, and talk about a fantastic friend and a guy you could sit down and talk barbecue with all day was Buddy Richardson. So those are a few names. So yeah.
That's great. I'm going to have to look up. There's a couple that I didn't know, so I'm going to have to look them up.
You're a young chap, Luke. I'm talking about my grandkids and cooking barbecue back in the early 90s. Yeah.
And this is a hard question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Because in terms of barbecue, and your name has been brought up several times on this podcast as an answer to this question. When you hear the word successful in terms of barbecue, who's the first person that comes to mind? It's hard when you're the answer sometimes.
No. I would say, I would say my father-in-law, Don McLemore, without a doubt, because sometimes it's hard to carry a family-run restaurant for as long as Big Bob Gibson has made it. So carrying on another generation after Big Bob and Big Bob's daughter, I think Don took it to a new level and carried on all those traditions. And he's the one that introduced me to barbecue when I started working at Big Bob Gibson. So without a doubt, he has been the most successful barbecuer that I've been around, especially daily. And I've got to see him work. And so yeah, it's close to home, but yeah, he'd be the guy I'd look at.
That's awesome. That's a great story. And it's just great how it's been involved in your life and the different ways that it has, and it's really been great to watch. So what, in terms of competition barbecue, what do you think the future of it is?
I hope the future is bright for it. It's not only about the competition. It's a hobby. It's about, it's about the people. Again, it's why I go to the American Royal. It's what friends do on the weekend, and take that away. How am I ever going to, visit my friends in California or Iowa or Kansas City or, we won't have that meeting place without competition barbecue. So I think it would take a lot from my life. It would take a lot from, everybody's life that, into competition barbecue. So yeah, I think it's always going to be there. It's always got a bright future. Maybe there always will be twists and turns with sanctioning bodies and different avenues of the competition. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a strong future.
That's great. I want to go back to something you said earlier, in that you're not a temperature probe guy, and you're more of a gut feeling cook. And how do you relate to those feelings when something's telling you, like, maybe I should pull this off, or maybe this needs a little more time? What's the process that you go through?
I think a lot of gut feeling is doing it so much. A lot of it's more instinct. It is more, you're making decisions that aren't even conscious decisions. And when I'm teaching somebody or talking about barbecue, sometimes that's difficult for me to convey, and that, I know it has to be done. I know it has to be done then. But I've always got to remember, I've got to express that to whoever I'm talking with, on why. When I don't really know why. It's more instinct because of repetition. And it goes in the restaurant. It's the same way. You open the pit. I don't really use internal meat thermometers in the in the restaurant because, it's a feel thing, it's a sight thing, it's a smell thing. You just, push the brisket or push the pork butt with your fingers and you know that it's done. It's definitely more of a feel thing for me. In competition, you have to, get that perfect internal temperature with especially some of your small cuts. But just like in competition, a lot of these guys or a lot of these people that cook a competition, they don't take internal temperatures of the brisket. They go by feel on how the probe feels going into the brisket or, what the pork feels like when you push on it. And it comes down to they've done it a long time and they've been doing it a while. They don't need that internal temperature. So, yeah, it's I think more than it is gut, I guess you would say.
Yeah, and it's funny how that stuff comes to you. I just cooked 3 weekends in a row, which I hadn't done all year, and I was explaining it to my dad the other day. He said, "How did you know the ribs were good? You said they were some of the best." I was like, "When I picked them up."
Yeah, yeah.
I could just tell when I picked them up how they felt and the way they gave a little bit. And I'm like, and I tell people all the time, if you want to get better at it, cook 4 weekends in a row because you're really going to find out about yourself and your pit and your food.
And you say, and it's absolutely true. And but a lot of people can relate to this. When you have that rib on the cutting board and you slice it, when you're slicing that rib how good a rack that is. So you can almost pick the rack by how it's sliced. The flavor is going to differ a little bit, but gosh, when you hit that perfect rib and that knife just sort of melts through it, but you still you still have that bite just a little bit. Oh gosh, it is.
Yep, that's the other indicator too. When the knife hits it, I can slice one and be like, nope, that one's not good.
Yeah, or you slice your brisket and it's not good, so you throw the slices in a pan and throw them directly over the firebox to try to get them there because you have 12 and a half more minutes before you have to turn it in.
Yep, you can't ever give up. That's a big part of it. A lot of people will get to that turn-in spot and they're like, oh, well, this isn't good. And they'll just mail it in, and there's always something more that you can do to make that piece of meat better.
Yeah, absolutely. Use every minute, use every second. You're not going to win without it.
That's right. Well, Chris, I want to thank you for taking the time. We're now to the rapid fire question part.
All right.
These are fun, but it's also I'm excited to hear your answers on them because they're different and they're not all barbecue related. So,
okay, shoot, what you got for me?
All right, what do you see on barbecue on social media that upsets or bothers you?
Nothing bothers me.
Nothing bothers you. That's amazing.
I try to stay out of I try to stay out of the politics, and I don't get on social media and stay on it. I'm when I need to be and everything. I got a lot of balls in there, so
you don't have time for that.
Yeah. So to jump into politics and get upset because somebody posted something or somebody says this about barbecue or this about someone, I would rather just chill and have a good time.
There you go. Wise advice, everybody. Do you have a favorite pre, during, or post competition meal?
Wow. I don't think I do enough competitions to answer this, but it's definitely not barbecue. In Memphis, I would say it's like Gus's fried chicken or something. When I'm, in the middle of the week, always eat Gus's fried chicken. I like a good sushi restaurant as well, and I'm a sucker for a good Italian restaurant. So those are definitely some of my favorites right there.
Okay. Do you have a favorite present that you like to give to people?
Say a bottle of bourbon.
Yeah,
Let's go with bottle of bourbon.
That's a great present. And it depends on the person on how nice that bottle is.
Exactly. You got a lot of leeway there, brother.
All right, last one, and this one's probably the hardest one. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, getting a message out to millions or billions, what would it say and why?
It would say, come eat at Big Bob Gibson Barbecue. Yeah. And why? Because no, I mean, yeah, it would be an advertisement for my restaurant. I don't think there would be another choice. Come on now, Luke. What would your answer be?
I don't know. This is the one that I've always asked, and I've always been prepared for somebody to ask me. And I don't know what it would be. Maybe right now it would be smile and be kind.
Yeah,
I think is I just think
without a doubt that would be a good one. It sure would not have my name, image, likeness on it. I think I would go the Big Bob Gibson route.
There you go.
And then once I get them there, I can smile and be kind to them. Then how about that?
You're right, and that's actually the best answer. It should probably be buy Old Virginia Smoke's new barbecue sauce. So,
hey, no, I've actually got a better one. If you ask right now, it would be Big Bob Gibson Barbecue. Help wanted. Come join our staff. Learn to barbecue.
Ain't that the truth?
Oh wow. Yes.
It is hard for anybody to find anybody right now. It is.
It is a problem all over the country, especially in the restaurant industry.
Yep. I've been, in the past 2 months, I've been up to Maine and I've been down to Alabama, and it's the same. It is not different anywhere. So, well, I want to thank you very much for taking some time today. I think people know how to find you online. You're on Facebook, you're on Twitter as well, I believe, and Instagram.
Yes, at Chris Lilly, BBQ is across all the platforms. Come visit me there, or come visit me at the American Royal. I think my spot is like $4.99 or right around there at the American Royal. But I'll be out there hanging out all weekend.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you, maybe having a drink and saying hi.
Take care, Luke. Good to catch up, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Thank you for listening to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Be sure to subscribe and like the podcast, rate the podcast, and share it out with all your friends. Also, be sure to check out the Old Virginia Smoke YouTube channel as well. We will have another episode for you next week. For companies interested in advertising, please contact Old Virginia Smoke directly via www.oldvirginiasmoke.com. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is edited by Chris Sedenka. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast is a property of Old Virginia Smoke LLC. All rights reserved. Copyright 2021.
Yes, Old Virginia Smoke.